Well, I have run issues are just a rebuttal to. So both parties are taking extreme ends.
Right.
So NDC reps will say it didn't have any impact at all. NDP reps will say everything can be attributed to the shocks. But I would say that the external shocks, the war and the COVID, neither did they have 0 nor 100% impact. There were some impact. So we must acknowledge that. At the same time, we must acknowledge the internal challenges. This structure of the economic problem has been with us since 1927. Gages economy, if you remember, that type of economy where the colonizers said that the colonies, you don't have any technology to transform your material, so bring the raw materials to us. We'll transform them into finished products and then resend them to you as imports to you. So that structure hasn't changed. Kwame Nkrumah made giant steps to change that structure. He was successful, then he was overthrown, and since then, I have not seen any pragmatic approach to really change that structure. The structure where we will shift from import dependency to self-reliance. And I think that this is where the 1D, 1F comes in to address. I was so happy with that. Unfortunately for them, it has some challenges. But if as a country we can sit down and move forward and transform that sector and at least identify 1 or 2 items that can easily be produced in the country. The president mentioned the reduction in import of rice, which is remarkable, which is good. That's what we need to reduce the import of tomatoes, reduce the import of cooking oil, reduce the import of sugar. If you can do we are not saying go and manufacture cars or airplane. We are saying that the agro-processing, turning pineapple into pineapple juice, it shouldn't be beyond us. Turning sugar cane to sugar should not be beyond us. So back to your question, the internal challenges have been with us. We need to deal with this.
Right.
The external shocks are also there. We cannot negate their impact and say that they didn't have any impact at all. But even when you want to stay on the external shocks, Martin, the impact of any external shock on the economy would depend on your degree of exposure to the international community. Okay. If something is happening in Niger and Ghana is so exposed to Niger, it will impact us more than maybe Togo, who was not exposed to Niger. So that the shocks, the vulnerability will always be determined by the level of exposure. Right. And it comes back to the fundamentals of the economy, fixing the fundamentals, making sure that we are not too dependent on Russia and Ukraine. Yeah. You import wheat from them. What if you are not importing from them? What will the war do to you? You understand? So if you are too exposed to them, then whatever happens to them will affect you the more. Certainly. And so it comes back to the same thing that we must look within and address the challenges. If you ask me, the 2 main issues confronting this economy will be the cost of living and revenue mobilization. Of course, the war has disrupted supply chains, fuel price has shot up, food price have shot up. The city was depreciating very fast. Is the reason the government went for the IMF program and it's being stabilized. Then internal generation of revenue. We didn't do that as a country. It's the reason we piled that debt and then we had to even restructure the debt before the IMF program. So you look at, I look at the figures between 2006, I think I've shared it with you. By the time we completed the HIPIC initiative in 2006, our total debt was just 4.9 billion. Okay. You know, now it is 576 billion.
That's quite substantial. Yeah. Sorry for cutting in there, but like I indicated, we'll be crisscrossing and going back and forth to Parliament and in studio. I'm told that Kofi-Addo is speaking with some of our colleagues, journalists in Parliament House. Let's go and hear exactly what his thoughts are, certainly giving his side of what he thinks the state of the nation is.
Perception index, we scored 43 out of 100, and the president couldn't say one word about it. It's shameful. This state of the nation, the president glossed over the economy. Meanwhile, everything that you are seeing, even inflation, continues to go up, 23.5. And the president could not say anything, the hardship of Ghanaian experience. So this state of the nation, quite frankly, we'll have the chance to debate it, but we are very disappointed.
Well, let's speak to one of the key leaders of the majority. Frank Anno Yes, Frank Anodompe, Member of Parliament of Insawam Medroji as well. And you said that this is a laudable one. The critics will say it doesn't talk about the bread and butter issues. What's your own observation about the State of the Nation address, Frank Anodompe?
Well, first of all, I found it as a very solemn reflection coming from the president. And I hear people say that the president was coughing, he was taking water and all that. My very simple response to those who are saying that, the man is over 80 years. So those of us who are youthful, if you are asked to...
Actually not 80, he will be 80 next month.
Well, all right, okay. But the president is almost 80 years.
You are just saying that he's
So that one is neither here nor there. For me, the president was honest, was brutally honest.
Right, so sorry that we lost the transmission there, but we've been speaking to all my colleagues in Parliament, that is Roland Walker, Komla Kluche and the rest. We're trying to get the thoughts of some of the members of Parliament from both sides to, you know, ascertain what they make of what the president has just delivered, which is the state of the Ghanaian nation. Right, so we have been joined in studio also by... I was about to say Dr. Palgrave, but Palgrave Boachi Dankwa, who is government spokesperson on governance and security. He is also with us and member of the New Patriotic Party as well. So certainly his thoughts on what the president has said is also crucial, just like that of Dr. Edusa Akodia, who is an economist. Maybe in just about wrapping up our, you know, live coverage of the State of the Nation address, I would give the last few minutes shared between the two gentlemen, and I'll start with you, Palgrave. It was quite surprising, and it was something I noticed, and I even mentioned it to my colleagues, that the president or the speech writers of the president were smart enough to let the president start on the note of security, because security concerns everybody, irrespective of your political leaning or your political coloration. So he talked about the fact that within the West African sub-region, Ghana seems to be the only country, thanks to God, that has not been attacked or had any major security threat. And it's as a result of the increased security consciousness and contribution of the governments over time and this present government. What are your thoughts as someone who's a governance and security spokesperson for the government on the fact that the president reiterated efforts being made to ensure our safety?
Martin, a very good afternoon to you, and I don't think you are far off from making a mistake of calling me a doctor, because I'm just left with 2 months to graduate. I think that Dr. Dusakodia would admit that once you have presented your thesis, then I mean you can be called the title. So it's fine. But really, to state it, that President Akufo-Addo has reassured Ghanaians of the safety and security within the sub-region. It's important that we put that in context. The president has appreciated our own government's efforts in retooling the Ghana Armed Forces, in retooling the internal security from the Ghana Police, in retooling the fire service, retooling the immigration and customs and prisons. The president has really stated that it was important for us to look at security as a core measure of our democracy and as a beacon of our democracy. And the president also stated very clearly national security efforts with the launch of the See Something, Say Something, which featured very heavily, like you stated, in the very first paragraphs of the President's State of the Nation address. And the President also appreciated how we have secured the borders, because you recall how the various countries like Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, the threats of terrorism has been through, and even our own empirical threats that we have had to go through as a country, and the investment as well, because it is only in the leadership of President Akufo-Addo that we've been able to purchase 4 new vessels for the Ghana Navy to protect the Gulf of Guinea, because the threats of terrorism is not really just about entering into your country, but it's to see that the terrorists continually want to perpetuate their acts of piracy, and we have been able to protect that, and that comes as an achievement of government. And the President also clearly went through the courting system and gave the Ghanaian people how the courting system used to be in terms of infrastructure, and how we've been able to ensure that we've built up on the courting system, give an update of the Supreme Court's judges, give an update of digitalization and how well we have fared in ensuring that we have had to digitalize the courting system, and a number of conversations that the President did hold. I would state this State of the Nation address as one of the most healthiest State of the Nation address that the President has presented. The President has stated the health of the Ghanaian economy, and without ranking, my senior economist is here, without ranking, I think that this is an A+ State of the Nation address.
Certainly. I was expecting you to say it so. But what is happening now is that, unfortunately, we've run out of time. It's good at least that we were able to get something from both of you as we wrap this up. Certainly, we'll be bringing more of your thoughts to our viewers, in subsequent bulletins, especially at News 360 at 7 o'clock. You'll get further and better details of their thoughts on what the President has given us today. So that's been our coverage of the State of the Nation. My two gentlemen who were with me in the latter stages of it, Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie, an economist and lecturer at University of Ghana Business School, and also we had the economics department specifically, yes. And then also we had Dr. Palgrave Boachidankwa, who is the government spokesperson on governance and security. My name is Martin Asiedudati. Thank you very much for watching. Right after this, we are going to be bringing you the most watched afternoon program in Ghana. It's called The Afternoon Show. Don't miss it. Grab a bottle of water, sit down, increase the volume, and Akufo and Godwin Nambo are bringing you The Afternoon Show. Stay with us. This is TV3.